Today, we're moving from quantitative data, data with numbers and scatter plots and lines of best fit, to categorical or qualitative data. Obviously, this data is going to be non-numerical. So you're going to be answering questions such as, do you prefer sports or music? Do you have a TV in your bedroom or not? Yes or no type questions, or either or type questions. There can still be variability in the answer, but it's not going to be numerical variability. The example that I have presented for us here is from my 6th grade class last year. I asked them, do you have more than one sibling? And do you have chores at home? Okay? The answers are listed in these two tables as, yes, I have more than one sibling, yes, I have chores, no, I do not have chores. So I went around and asked each individual student, and we recorded the data together in these two tables. Now, since my data is non-numerical, I can't use a scatter plot to analyze it. I can't use a histogram to analyze it. We also notice here that I have two variables, siblings and chores. In order to analyze categorical data that is in two variables, what I use is what we call a two-way frequency table. Now, don't get scared, it's not going to be confusing. It is simply a table where we count the frequency of each event occurring. Here's an example of a two-way frequency table for this example. Now, I want you all to draw your own as we go along. They should look something like this. Almost like your own tic-tac-toe box. You list one variable down here, chores, no chores. Another one up here, siblings, no siblings. And then the bottom row and the bottom column are totals, just to make sure our data matches up. Once you have drawn your own, we're going to move on to completing or filling out the frequency table. The way you do that is you just count the frequency of each event occurring. Notice that the way it's set up is that there are 4 boxes, one here, one here, one here, and one here, that are to be filled in. This first box would be people that have multiple siblings and have chores. This next one is multiple siblings with no chores, and so on. 1 sibling or 0 siblings, chores, no siblings, no chores. Okay? We look at our data table and simply count the frequency of each event. So the first person, they have multiple siblings and chores, they go right there. Next person is no and no, so they go there. 1 sibling or 0 siblings, but they do have chores, so they go up there, and so on. So please complete your frequency table as I complete mine up here. It's always nice to write the numerical value of your checks. Alright. You all should have gotten that there are 5 students that had chores with multiple siblings, 5 students that had 0 siblings or 1 sibling with chores, and 4 students who did not have siblings and had no chores. Now these total columns over here, this total row over here, is simply a way to check our answers to make sure that we did it correctly. Right, so there are 5 students in my class that had multiple siblings, and 9 of them that had 1 or 0 siblings. 10 of my students had chores at home, 4 of them did not. Both of these totals should add up to 14, because that's how many kids were in my class. That last row is a little check for us to make sure that I had counted up the data correctly. Now, I've made my two-way frequency table. What is it telling me? Is it more likely for my students to have chores if they have siblings or not. I see that there's the same frequency of students with chores between the multiple siblings and the 1 or 0 siblings. However, no students in my class that had more than one sibling didn't have any chores at home. 4 of them that had 1 sibling or 0 siblings went without chores. Based on this, I can say that if students in my class have more than 1 sibling, there's a high likelihood for them to have chores. If they have 1 or 0 siblings, it's about half and half. 5 and 4 out of the 9. Here is my two-way frequency table, and that is how I use it to analyze the data. I'm looking for an association between the 2 variables. We'll practice with this a lot over the next few days, and you're going to make your own on the next slide.